Just a quick note, in addition to uploading the show in its entirety and in an audio podcast version, we are now doing both in segments, so you can watch and listen at your leisure. Next on Rugby Wrap-Up, a huge Major League Rugby mystery guest that flummoxes Dan Power and Steve Lewis, plus Steve, Dan, and Matt McCarthy with their top 3 impact players of Major League Rugby 2021 and global rugby headlines. Rugby Wrap-Up brought to you in part by The Pig and Whistle, the world's best rugby pub. The Murphy Kennedy Group, founded with the idea that construction can be done better. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rugby Wrap-Up. Matt McCarthy in New York City on the Upper West Side. Steve Lewis on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And Dan Power is not on a boat in the Mississippi. Dan, where are you?
Denver, Colorado.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw, buddy.
And we are going to talk a little Major League Rugby. We have a mystery guest in the wings, a biggie, so don't go away. But first, we're going to give our 3 impact players on the season in our eyes. Dan, why don't you start us off?
Well, got the hat, got the part. I'll go to Texas first. I'm going to go with Sam Windsor, Houston SaberCats. Perennial underachievers. I don't even think they would mind me saying this at this point, but 3 years in, and they've got the facilities, they've got the ownership, they've got everything. They've got a good roster. Sam Windsor's been a shining star down there for Houston the first 3 years. He's at the back end of his career. I think he has a big year this year. Houston will follow, and they're a chance. They're a big chance to come out of the West.
I'm going to go for San Diego, and I'm not going to go for Chris Robshaw, and I'm not going to go for Cecil Africa, who are their 2 big star name pickups, or Nate Augsburger, my favorite American rugby player. I'm actually going to go for Joe Peterson, who's just been the key, the linchpin for them, whether he's at 10 or 15. If he comes back and he's on any kind of the form he's displayed previously, he's a key man.
I'm gonna go down to San Diego, and this is an if because there's not a lot of certainty on some of the teams with the rosters being finalized yet. But if he is indeed part of the Legion, Josh Furno is a force of nature, and I just love that guy. If I had that guy in my team, I would say, okay, go ahead, Josh. I'm right behind you. Let's move on to our second pick. Dan, what do you got?
Up to the Northwest, mate, the 2-time champs. They looked vulnerable in 2020, didn't they? They didn't look like the back-to-back champs that we know and love. To lead them, it's, a lot's going to fall on the shoulders of Brad Tucker, Player of the Year in 2019. They're rebuilding. They've made some changes up there. Keith Lensing, former assistant out in New York, is now the head coach, changing identities, changing tactics, I'm sure. But Brad Tucker needs to have a massive year. If Seattle are going to go for number 3.
I'll stick in Seattle, and I'll go with Ross Neal, who is a big lump coming out of London Irish. American fans might have seen him playing a bit in the Bermuda Tens. Very, very talented, very large specimen, but fantastic footballer. Might even keep Matt Turner out the side.
I'm going to go in that big back mode with Carl Meyer from NOLA. He can kick, he can run. He's a tough guy to tackle. But he could do it all. I like him, and he had a big World Tens, if I'm not mistaken. So Carl Meyer is my pick. Dan,
I'm actually going to use his center partner for 2021. I'm going to go JP Duplessis. What a trade that was from San Diego, one of the stars for the first two and a bit years. He goes down to New Orleans. Nate Osborne gets a world-class center to add to his other world-class center. I'm
going to go someone I think is going to make an impact in terms of overall performance rather than flash. So I'm going to go to DC, our neighbors to the south. And I'm going to go with a former captain of the Glasgow Warriors who's joined them, Callum Gibbons. About 45, 50-ish games for Glasgow over the last 3 years. He's a Kiwi, but he settled in Glasgow, my hometown, fairly well. And he brings a bit of a hard nose into the back row. And I think he could be really impactful for DC.
All right, I like that. That's a good pick, Steve. I'm gonna go with a guy in New York, an All Black. How can you go wrong with an All Black? I'm gonna go with Andy Ellis at number 9, a key position on the rugby pitch, specifically in this league, and he brings class to that number 9 position. Plus, he can show the light, so to speak, to your younger guns, the 2 Connors. But we do have a mystery guest. So we're going to take a quick break and come back. Please make sure that you check out our other segments with Mr. Zach Lanning, the Zach Attack, and our MLR show with Dan Power and Steve Lewis, and a mystery guest, a biggie, and martial law with Colby Marshall. You might have seen the Marshall Plan. Well, we've changed it after an extensive marketing search. And please join our American Red Cross Rugby Wrap-Up Blood Donor Team. I know Dan and Steve are going to be signing up because they too want to save 3 lives. On behalf of all these folks, Matt McCarthy, for Rugby Wrap-Up, keep that mouse pad close by.